Radhe Radhe Govinda Govinda Radhe 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 Govinda Govinda Radhe. Radhe Radhe everyone, welcome. So today we are continuing with the reading of Saints of Bengal. And today's new story is about Shri Vipin Bihari Chattopadhyaya. Shri Vipin Bihari Chattopadhyaya. So in village Makadadha of district Howdah, there lived Shri Shyamacharan Chattopadhyaya. He was a senior officer in the postal department and a simple-hearted and good-natured devotee. He used to do kirtana every day. When he did kirtana with his friend Devendra Chakravarti, both became so inspired and ecstatized that they lay unconscious in samadhi for 3 or 4 hours. Some people of the neighborhood who thought that their samadhi was feigned, was false, once touched their bodies with fire to test their samadhi. They were surprised to see that the fire did not have any effect upon them. Since then, they began to respect them as great devotees. The second son of Sri Shyamacharan was Vipin Bihari Chattopadhyaya. He was also simple-hearted, good-natured, and religious-minded, like his father. He had passed BA and law and was a practicing lawyer in the Hugali court. But he liked the company of sadhus, and on account of his simplicity, believed what the sadhus told him. Once, a sadhu told him that if he observed complete fast for 21 days, taking only the water of coconut at night, he would certainly have the darshana of goddess Karna Pishachi. He took the mantra from him and started sadhana. Fasting reduced him to a skeleton. Still, he did not give up the sadhana. On the 21st day, when at dead of night he was offering bela, or bela is actually wood, apple wood. So he was offering actually leaves, bela leaves, to the sacrificial fire. The leaves started moving by themselves. He was frightened to see this. On account of fear, he made some mistake in pronouncing the mantra. Therefore, Karna Pishachi began to drag him. He shrieked aloud. His friend Madhusudana Bhattacharya, who was sleeping in the veranda nearby, came running. It was with great difficulty that he could make him recover from the shock. But since that time, he began to have fever and jaundice, and his teeth began to bleed. He lay on the bed for a long time. At the end, he became so weak that he could not even speak, and the doctors declared that he would not survive. Waiting for death, one day he thought, "Death comes to everyone, but if it comes to me as the result of sadhu sangha, company of saints, people will keep away from sadhus, and that would be disastrous." In utter helplessness and anguish, he cried aloud, "Prabhu, Prabhu, have mercy on me." Prabhu heard his cry. A current ran through the spiritual world and touched the heart of Sadhu Haribol Ananda of Kashi. You remember last time we were talking about Haribol Ananda of Kashi. He immediately sent 4 sadhus to Vipin Babu. They came and standing at the door of his house, began to sing the following kirtana. Premadata Nitai Gaur, Premadata Nitai Gaur, Hari 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 Bo. Nitai, and more continuous. So Nitai Enechenam Gaur, Hari Hari Bo. The kirtana brought about unprecedented change in Vipin Babu. Vipin Babu, who could not turn aside without the help of someone, suddenly sat up without anyone's help. Vipin Babu, who could not speak a word, called his mother and asked her to call the sadhus. She went to the door and requested them to come in. She took them near Vipin Babu's bed, and then Vipin Babu lay prostrate before them and smeared his body with the dust of their feet. He kept them in his house for 3 days, served them well, and took their charanamrita. Soon he regained his normal health. He had a new life. This might have been due to the power of Harinama or the Vaishnava charanamrita, but the root cause was the mercy of Sadhu Haribolananda Thakur. Vipin Bihari, sincere concern for the bad name his death would have brought to the sadhus, became the cause of their glorification, because it was the mercy of the sadhus that pulled him out of the jaws of death. This episode in the life of Vipin Bihari reminds us that in this age, it is not only difficult to obtain the Lord through yagya, the chances of yagya proving disastrous if some kind of mistake is committed in its performance are great. The safest path in the path of bhakti, on which one can walk even with eyes closed, in bhakti, the Harinam Japa or Sankirtana is the most efficient. There is not only no chance of Harinama causing any harm to the sadhaka, any harm that may come to him for any other reason. Ever since Bipin Babu came to know of Haribolananda Thakur from the sadhus whom he had sent, he became anxious to meet him. He went to Kashi, enjoyed his company, and took initiation from him. He gave him the Gopal mantra and the name Nityananda. One day, in order to test Nityananda's faith in the Guru, Thakur said to him, I have financial difficulty. You go to the temple of Annapurna and sit all day in the line of beggars with a cloth spread before you for bhiksha, for alms. Whatever you get in bhiksha, you give me in the evening. He did that. He was staying in Kashi in his father-in-law's house. When the people of his father-in-law's house went to the temple for darshana, they were very much angry to see him sitting in the line of beggars for bhiksha. But their reprimand had no effect on him. In the evening, he brought the money, rice, and pulses, etc., which he got in bhiksha, and offered everything to Gurudev. Gurudev kept the bhiksha on his head and began to dance in ecstasy, because his disciple had given him adequate proof of Guru Nishta, or faith in the Guru, and humility, both of which are essential for success in sadhana. After 3 months, Thakur asked Nityananda to go home. Nityananda said, Now I will not practice as a lawyer, because the lawyer had to do many things against his conscience. Thakur said, within 7 days, you will become Munsifa, or sub-judge. After his appointment as Munsifa, he had sufficient time. He got up very early in the morning. As soon as he got up, he shouted, Haribol! This was a call to the devotees who participated in his kirtan. They came and the kirtana started. It went on from 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. His maddening kirtana and dance, his graceful movement of limbs in dance, and the occasional shouts through which the bhava in heart burst out during kirtana melted the hearts of even the non-devotees or those who out of pride or ignorance ridiculed bhakti. After kirtana, he sat down to write judgment. Then after bath, deity worship, and prasad seva, he went then to court. Again in the evening, after returning from the court, he shouted, Haribol! The devotees came and kirtana began. The kirtana and katha of Srimad Bhagavatam, etc., continued till 9 p.m. He followed this routine even at the time of illness and on the Ekadashi days, when he observed complete fast and did not take even a drop of water, so-called Nirjala Ekadashi. Once, when he was reading the Kazi Dalana Lila, so the Lila, Kazi Dalana Lila, or the Lila connected with subjugation of the Kazi, so in Chaitanya Bhagavata, he was so overwhelmed with bhava that on the wall appeared for some time the pictures of Mahaprabhu and his associates going to conquer the Kazi. The devotees were lost in astonishment to see this. Nityananda used to put on the tilaka of Nityananda Parivar, since he was initiated by Haribol Ananda Thakur. But when he was Munsifa or sub-judge in Vishnupur, he was compelled in a state of bhava by some invisible power to put on the tilaka of Gadadhar Parivar. No one could understand the mystery behind it. After some time, Shripad Harimohana Shiromani Goswami Prabhu of Gadadhar Parivar came to him without invitation and without an introduction. He was so much influenced by his Gauranishta, or firm belief in Gaura, that he had to take Gaura mantra from him and join Gadadhar Parivar. So he joined Gadadhar Parivar. Nityananda. Nityananda was transferred to different places as a sub-judge. Whenever he was transferred, his kirtana continued as usual. He easily became the center of attraction of the devotees, and they came running morning and evening on hearing his Haribol and participated in kirtana. When Nityananda was posted in Badaila, two boys, Kirana Chandra Mitra and Girindra Ghosh, became the most important members of his Kirtana party. Even though chastised by their guardians, they did not leave his company. Girindra lived with him as a member of his family. He went with him wherever he was transferred. Thus, Girindra enjoyed his company continuously for 20 years. Nityananda also loved him like his son. The bond of love between them was so thick that they were different only in body, but one in soul. So it was natural that Girindra should have a premonition of Nityananda's death. One day, he saw in a dream that after 2 days he has left his body. He came weeping and fell at his feet. Nityananda tried in every possible way to remove his anxiety and console him, but in vain. After 2 days, on the Krishnashtami of the month of Magha in the year 1923, at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, came his old friend Atul Champati. He was at that time smoking hookah. This is a pipe, smoking. For a long time they talked happily. While the conversation was going on, Atul Champati said, "Look, Vipin, you need not worry about your death. You have your wife and children who will take care of you at the time of death. But I have no one who may even give me a glass of water at that time." Immediately Vipin threw away the hookah and said, "What do you say, Champati? Does the devotee of Nityananda die like that? He says Sri Hari and leaves his body." With this, he left the body. Now, Champati used to say on this that Vipin gave me a slap on my cheek and went, showing how the devotee dies. So this was a short story about Nityananda after, but before he was called Sri Vipin Bihari Cattopadhyaya. So now we are coming to a story about Sri Vamshidas Babaji from Navadvip. So it is said that the Western civilization is like a box of which the outside is studded with jewels, but inside is filled with rags, while the Indian civilization is like a box of which the outside is wrapped in rags, but inside is filled with jewels. The Western people are interested in the exploration of the material world outside, and are never tired of beating their drum of achievements, while the Indian people are interested in the investigation and realization of the spiritual world inside, and instead of beating the drum of their achievements in public, keep them hidden in their hearts. A traveler discovers an island or a continent. His name is recorded in history. A mountaineer climbs the Everest. He is applauded as the conqueror of the Himalayas. But saints who conquer by their love the Creator and the Destroyer of the universe, and subjugate him to the extent of governing, commanding, and reprimanding him, pass unknown to the world. Vamshidas Baba was one such saint. He would have remained unknown if Sri Haridas Das Babaji, who was close to him, had not written in his short biography in Gauriya Vaishnava Jivana book, and Sripad Haridas Goswami had not written about his reminiscences of him in his autobiography. Vamshidas Babaji was a Siddha Mahatma in the disciplic succession of Sri Narottam Thakur. The name of his Diksha Guru was Harilal Vrajavasi, and the name of his Sannyas Guru was Ramananda Vrajavasi. But it was difficult to know that he was Siddha, because he lived far away from the world in a solitary place on the bank of Ganga, near Baral Ghat in Navadvip, as if he was renounced by the world, as an idiotic and worthless destitute. But the fact is that it is not the world that had renounced him, but he who had renounced the world as worthless. He hardly had any worldly possessions. His only possessions were an old kopina, a piece of cloth worn over private parts, karanga, a small pot, and actually, yeah, and kanta, a thin quilt made of rags patched together. Once Sripad Haridas Goswami asked him why he did not wear bahirvash, or loincloth or outer garment. He replied, I live only with ka, which means kopina, karanga, and kanta. I have nothing to do with ba, which means bahirvash, or outer garment. Bahirvash vesh brings relationship with the outer world and the people, who are bahiranga. That is, those who are attached to the outer world. My Gaura has asked me not to wear bahirvash and mix with people who are bahiranga. Vamshidas Babaji lived in a world of his own. His world centered around his deities, Gaura Gadadhar, Nitai, Radha Krishna, and Gopal. For the service of these deities, he had two brass pots, some earthen pots, one plate, one glass, some small cups, also pancha patra, or a metallic vessel used for the purpose of puja, and bell and conch shell, and nothing else. Baba passed day and night in the service of the deities and in sweet talks with them. Early in the morning, he went out from his kuti, or small place where he was, to collect flowers. Then he went for bhiksha. He returned to the kuti about noon and made garlands from the flowers for each of the 6 deities. After that, he started cutting vegetables. He washed each vegetable a number of times. Then he cleaned rice. He examined each grain of rice. If he found any grain from which the husk was not removed, he removed it with his own hand. He did everything slowly, contemplating all the time the lila of Radha Krishna or Gaurnita, and singing or talking to them. It was only late in the evening that he could cook and offer bhoga to deities. He had no consciousness of time. Morning and evening, day and night, had no meaning for him. Almost the whole night he kept awake, talking and singing. Once, Sripad Haridas Goswami was surprised to see him cooking for the deities at about 9 a.m. He said to him, Baba, it would be fine if you prepare bhoga for the deities like this in the morning every day. And he replied, I do not know morning or evening. Am I their father's servant, so to feed them at appointed hours? If they want to eat like that, let them make their own arrangements for cooking. Let Gadadhar cook for Gaura. Nita is Avaduta. Avaduta meaning a saint, who is above all norms and injunctions of the Shastras. He has no caste. He can go and eat anywhere. I do not worry about my Gopal. A milk cow comes here every day and gives him milk. He can live on that. I have to worry about Radha Krishna. For them, I will have to cook a little rice and vegetables. And if I don't, they will go to Vrindavana and do Madhukari, or they would beg. Though Vamshidas Baba was always engaged in the loving service of his deities, with all his heart and soul, He was never satisfied with it. Once Haridas Goswami heard him saying to his deities sorrowfully, with tears in his eyes, "I cannot serve you well. The whole day passes in doing bhiksha, collecting flowers, cleaning utensils and cooking. Before, I could do so much, but now I have no shakti." Haridas Goswami said with folded hands, "I am a Goswami and I have Thakur Seva at my house. If I bring every day the materials for the service of your Thakuras, will you accept?" He said, "No." After some time he added, "For my Thakura, I shall myself beg, collect provisions and cook. Loving service of the Thakur means service done by one's own self, not by any other person." Haridas Goswami started picking flowers for the deities of Vamshidas. This continued for some time, so at least he accepted for flowers, but for cooking, not. Once he collected beautiful marigold flowers. He was tempted to offer them to his own deities, but he resisted the temptation. When he went to offer them to Vamshidas Baba said, "You have collected them for your deities, so they must be offered to them. I must myself collect flowers for my deities." So from that day, he again started picking flowers himself. Vamshidas Baba never locked the door of his kuti when he went out for bhiksha or to take bath in the Ganga. If someone asked him why he did not lock the kuti, he said, "If the owner of the house himself does not keep a watch and has a soft corner for the thief, what is the use of locking the house? I do not even keep the keys of the lock with me. The lock has 3 keys. All the 3 are with the 3 boys. One is with Gaura, one is with Nitai, and one with Gadadhar." After entrusting the lock and the keys to the 3 boys, Baba used to be free from anxiety. If, while he was out, a cow entered the kuti and turned everything upside down, he would be angry with the boys. If someone stole something from the kuti, he would say, "Gora has a soft corner for Nadyavasis, the residents of his own dham. Therefore, he gives things away to them. I am, after all, an outsider." Once a gold necklace given by someone to Gora was stolen when he had gone out for bhiksha. On returning to the kuti, he kept on scolding Gora and asking him whom he had given away the necklace. For about 2 hours, he was scolding Gora. Towards the evening, he got a hint. He then went to the house of the thief and asked him for the necklace. The thief pushed him down the veranda of his house, and he was hurt. But he did not say anything. But how could Gora tolerate this? The thief soon died, as well as all of the other members of his family. So once Baba had to punish Gora and Nitai for their connivance in a theft, so they're in some theft. The 2 brass pots in which Baba used to cook for Gora and Nitai were stolen. How could this happen without the connivance? I mean, this means that they allowed it, allowance of Gora and Nitai. So they were punished. Baba scolded them and did not give them anything to eat that day. The punishment had its effect. The next day, someone came quietly and delivered one of those pots. Baba said, "This small pot is Nitai's. He will be fed today. If Gaura wants to eat, he must also bring his pot." Baba always did what he said. He cooked and offered bhoga to Nitai. Gaura drew a long face as he kept looking at Nitai eating. In the meantime, another man came and delivered the other pot. Baba then cooked in that pot and offered bhoga to Gaura. When Gaura also had eaten, he said with tears in his eyes, Baba said, "Do I ever want to punish you? But both of you are so naughty that you must always tease me. You do not know that I have now become old and cannot bear it all. What can I do?" Once Baba said to Haridas Goswami, Gaura once desired to wear garland of champa flowers. I went to the garden of Roy Mahashaya and climbed a champa tree to pluck flowers. At that time, also Gaura could not remain without teasing me. He made me fall from a tree. I was hurt. Even then, I brought the flowers, knit them together into garlands, and offered them to Gaura Nitai, because they liked the champa flowers so much. Even though I serve these boys so much, they always tease me. What can I do? I'm so attached to them that I cannot also leave them. Baba was truly not leaving. Once he thought of going to Vrindavan. He started on foot. He had only gone up to Sulatanaga when he remembered Gaura Nitai so much that he had to return to Navada. In spite of all that, Gaura Nitai did everything to tease Baba. They were even more attached to him than he was attached to them. They could not bear his separation even for a short while. Once Baba was late in returning from Madhuka, Gaura Nitai were filled with rage. They expressed their resentment by breaking the earthen pots and scattering rice, pulses, ghee, and oil all around in the kuti. When Baba returned, he was shocked to see everything lying scattered on the floor. Mentioning this to Haridas Goswami Baba, he said, Gaura used to tease his mother like this in his childhood. Even now, his nature is the same. It was all right if he teased his mother. She enjoyed it. But I am an old man and a destitute. Does it behove him to tease me like this? This Brahmana Putta, son of Brahmin, is not a Putta or son, but a Bhuta or ghost who will only tease and tease. I had gone for Bhiksha only for his sake. What if I returned a bit late? Once during the winter season, Haridas Goswami saw that Baba's Balagopal was without cloth. He said to him, Baba, how is it that Gopal is without cloth? Baba replied, Gopal has cultivated a friendship with the mouse, with many mouses. So he gives his cloth to his friends. What can I do? But Goswamiji said, Gopal is a child. Children often do like that. You give him other cloth. Baba said, let him bring clothes himself from wherever he can. Otherwise, let him suffer cold. What can I do? Let him reap as he sows. All this may sound strange to a sadhaka. Did Vanshidas Babaji not commit an offense by making his deities from time to time helpless targets of his insolent and wrathful behavior? We would say Vanshidas Baba had risen above the level in which offense is offense, to the level in which offense is not offense but an expression of deep intimacy and love, the level in which love and love alone governs both the deity and his devotee and accounts for all their actions. Even those that outwardly seem to be offensive, Baba, even those that outwardly seem to be offensive, Baba was no more a sadhaka. He had become Siddha, and he was now enjoying the fruits of sadhana. No one ever saw Baba wearing a tilak on his forehead. No one ever saw him counting beads. The deities to him were no more objects of worship, but objects of love, which recognized no formalities, no rules or regulations imposed by the Shastras or anyone. So I love this, like deities are no more objects of worship, but objects of love. How beautiful way of seeing your deities. They're objects of love, not worship. Beautiful. It is difficult to understand what Bhava Vamshidas Baba had towards Gaura. It sometimes appeared to be Sakya or friendly, sometimes Vatsalya or parental, and sometimes Madhura, like that of Nadia Nagari or Lady of Nadia, towards Goranga as Nadia Nagara, an attractive citizen of Nadia. If it was basically Madhura, it is easy to understand that he sometimes exhibited Vatsalya Bhava towards him and sometimes Sakya, because Madhura Bhava includes all other Bhavas. According to Haridas Goswami, his Bhava was of Nadia Nagari type, because he used to compose songs of this Bhava and sing. He had quoted some of these songs, so two of them are reproduced below. So I'll just read in English. O Nagari, how I repent having gone to the bank of Ganga. Gaura cast a sidelong glance at me and stole my heart. What shall I do now? O Nagari, what shall I do? Tell me, O Nagari, what Gaura has done to me. He winked and whispered and did. I do not know what to me. O Saki, now I know not what to do. Life is running out of me. Or what has Gaura done to me? Towards the end of his life, Baba once went to his birthplace, Majidpur, in district Maimansingh. He carried the deities with him. On the way, he neither ate nor slept, nor passed stool or urine. On reaching Majidpur, he stayed in a dilapidated temple. After that, he went to Vrindavana and Puri. In Vrindavana, he stayed on the bank of Yamuna, in Puri, on the bank of Narendra Sarovara. He never went inside the temple for darshan. During these travels, the sadhus of the Gaudiya Math rendered great service to him. Nothing is known about Baba's life as a householder, meaning before, except that he was married at an early age and his son, Harachandra, was 9 or 10 years old when he renounced the world. He went to Navadvip about the year 1906. The author of this book once tried to see him in 1932, but could not, because the door of his kuti was closed, though he could hear him talking to the deities in Maimansiha dialect. He left the world in 1944. So this was Sri Vamshidas Babaji. So beautiful. So we don't have too much time today. And next story for the next week is about Sri Prangopal Goswami, and we know who is Prangopal Goswami. We know also who is Vamshi Das Baba. But we also know Prangopal Goswami. Yes? In our line, Parampara. And not just that. Today, of all days, I found a recording of his kirtan. One time, Raghunath, who left body last year, he played this kirtan to me, and I was telling him that he sent me this kirtan, but he could not, or he forgot maybe, I don't know. And I was searching for some time this kirtana, and finally today I found it. So I put the link to his kirtana. This is old recording, but was fixed to sound better. And you can hear his voice, how he's singing. And the next week, we will read about our Sri Prangopal Goswami. So thank you, everyone, for listening. I hope you like the story. Brajeshwari, Radhe Radhe.
Radha, my dear, I'm so happy to hear your stories. It's a long time I was not here, but today I want thank you very much for your seva. So nice. Many greetings to Baba, Mahabhava.
Thank you. She's somewhere now, I think, working something. But she is listening. Thank you. Radhe Radhe Go.